Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about forensic psychology and profiling and how it is used today. Okay, let's get started. What is forensic psychology? Forensic psychology is the study of psychology and the law. Psychology is the study of human mind and functions they perform. The law is defined as a system of rules that relates to a certain state or country, but if broken, a person may face certain penalties. The one key factor that separates this type of psychology from any other type of psychology is that the area primarily works collaboratively with the justice system and with particular regards with expert witnesses in certain testimonies. A lot of you are wondering how and when this became a thing. So it started back in 1893 and was created by a man named James McKeen Cattell. James went to 56 different universities and asked students a series of questions. These students would have to answer them to the best of their ability. This was to test psychology as a testimony, to see if the students could answer them. Then, in 1901, a man by the name of William Stern got together with some criminologists, and he talked to them about ways to make eyewitnesses correct. This happened by asking a group of students to solve some questions and to figure out if they could figure out the mistakes in them. They are now considered the eyewitnesses. These students got more errors than the actual eyewitnesses. The students got anywhere between 4 to 12 different errors. A lot of people think forensic psychology was big when it was first known, but they're wrong. It did not become big until after the World War. Forensic psychologists started using this to help testify in courts. Now we see forensic psychology being used more and more each day, not just in the courts. The one case that made forensic psychology so big is the Brown v. Board of Education, and it helped with the court's decisions. Forensic psychologists not only work in courts, but they work in jails, prisons, police departments, schools, and sometimes even private practices. Forensic psychologists might work directly with the victim or the victim's family. They mainly deal with human interactions and the behavior of the specific human. In jail, forensic psychologists look for mental health issues within the inmates and also do screenings, which include checking their vital signs, making sure they are not on any sort of drugs, and not only in jails, but forensic psychologists do this with the prisons as well. Also, when you're dealing with forensic psychology, the psychologists go to police departments with all their information and help testify in courts. A big part of forensic psychology deals with the schools. So they look into mental health issues and criminal profiling, the crime trends, and ways to get help for patients with substance abuse. One of the main things forensic psychologists work with is with the drug examination. Psychologists study how drugs are used and how they are made. As a result, they look up all information needed for the certain type of drug and examine different effects each drug has on each person. They look at each and every person very closely because every drug has different side effects on different people. A way a psychologist can tell if a patient is on drugs is by looking at blood samples, checking their vital signs to see if they have increased or decreased since the last time they came, and also checking in their eyes and seeing if their pupils are dilated or not. Forensic profiling. You're probably wondering what it is. It is a process of discovering the correlations between data in certain databases that identify and show human or non human commonalities as part of a group. Profilers gather all information they need to know about a certain person. This is how they create the profiles. Profiling helps with different tasks that were mainly based on the criminal justice system. Being a profiler is not an easy job. You are required to gather all information that is needed and use it when trying to figure out who the suspect actually is. There are two types of profiling: criminal profiling and psychological profiling. Criminal profiling is an investigative system that is used by law enforcement agencies that identify the likely suspects. They are then analyzed and patterns are created to show further offenses. Psychological profiling are the profiles that are responsible for developing psychological profiles based on violent criminals. These criminals have not been identified. They also break the law and send red flags to law enforcement agencies. When speaking on the criminal profiling level, we may fully base it off of criminals and their behavior, whereas on the psychological profiling perspective, they may base it off of getting help for those who may be criminals or who have some type of mental health problem.